Welcome to episode 6 of season 5 of Surviving Nairobi. Kama kawaida, it's your boy Hafare. And with me, again, nilikuwa nimesahau, but let's continue.
Niggas, always niggas.
Niggas will let you down.
But then niggas will always let you down.
Yep.
Utakuacha matani,
They will always let me down. So
utakuacha matani na njaa. Anyway, it's Ivy Gang. What up? What it do? What it does? Glad to be here again with another returning guest. But then this time tumesema tuna recycle only the best of the best.
All stars. It's the all stars.
All-star season.
Sindio?
All-star season.
LeBron James going for the dunk. It's the all-star season.
With the one and only, the mighty.
I'm sorry for my hosts. This is a serious episode. For don't mind the theatrics.
Theatrics? Jesus
Shadi
Christ.
here, Mr. Finance.
Mr. Finance.
Hey.
Mr. Moneybags.
Hey,
Mr. Moneybags.
Mr. Kusimama nje treasure in a briefcase.
Unfortunately, not rich. I just carry people's money, but it happens.
Wait, just rob him still.
Rob him still.
Rob him still.
Thank you so much for tuning in again. Bado hujafika 1,000 followers IG. All your niggas are slacking. Follow. And before we get into the episode today, we want to give a big shout out to our sponsors today.
Hey.
Yeah, to go, at least we're making a bit of coin here. Big shout out to our sponsors. And here's a word from our sponsors.
Wanashibisha mfuko. So for those who need a meal that's the life of any party, that would be the KFC's Crunch Master, which is 2 delicious hot and spicy chicken fillets, each triple breaded for that extra crunch, 2 slices of cheese, 2 different types of sauces, lettuce, and tomato wrapped in warm tortilla. And then if you need a meal that is as bold and as loud as you are,
Yes.
and a meal that is,
Bold.
bold and loud.
Yes.
And a meal for the unapologetically loud, the 3 of us. You can place your order from wherever it is that you're enjoying your podcast from, at home, in the office, or from any KFC, partner vendors, Jumia, Glovo, Uber Eats, and Bolt Food, and enjoy. Skanja.
Shout out to KFC and the Crunch Master for sponsoring this episode. We appreciate it. And now, to, while we're here, Shad is back. Here's the thing I want to say. We have never gotten as much feedback on a single episode
That's true.
as much as the one we did with you. Sindio?
Oh, really?
Never, ever. We have never got, because I had people calling me, not even just like at DMing Nini. What one nipigiwa, bro, I don't even know what CRB is.
Let me see. Let me tell you something.
The level of ignorance.
No, it's okay.
That was out there. I'm not saying, even me, I'm part of those.
Yeah, let's not go to ignorance. People they just don't know. It's not about ignorance. Okay, it's ignorance actually. I was trying to find a better word for it, but still. What wajambiwa hii story.
But you really came through, and for the layman, you made it.
Yeah,
so
you-
easy
Actually,
for us to understand.
let me make one thing today. I was looking through a CRB reporter. So I won't say whose. Now this is just a by the way. So let's talk about CRB for a moment. Huh?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's talk about, from the feedback I got from the last episode, number 1, people didn't know about credit ratings. Number 2, about debt, about finances. So before we even start this episode, let me tell you something. Debt is not bad.
Yes.
Right? Debt is good. Unless you're an extremely rich person, you come from a rich family. In that case, debt is just for wasting. But for me, personally, you are not going to grow without debt. Are we clear on that?
Really?
Yeah,
I feel like I'm in a class.
Yeah.
you won't grow without debt. Now, when we spoke, the last time we spoke, it was, I think, 1.5 years ago, nearly 2 years now, actually.
Yeah.
Actually, it's more like a year and some months because it was September last year.
No, not last year. It was September before COVID. That's exactly 2 years.
No, it was COVID started because season 2.
Actually,
No.
it was early.
Oh, yeah, it
Late
was last year.
It was
Actually,
late last year.
it was during COVID.
Yeah.
I remember it was during COVID.
Because COVID started when we stopped season 2 at episode
Oh yeah.
4.
Yes,
The same episode with the doctor.
Yeah, with Dr. Lucinda. Shout out Dr. Lucinda. Yeah.
shout out Lucinda. Actually, these days, we are very good friends with Lucinda. Do you know why? She calls me about how to invest and stuff. I call her to ask about COVID and viruses, and then she calls me. She called me last month, to ask about investing in treasury bills. Actually, one thing I'm going to talk about in this episode.
Let's go.
Investments.
Yes.
How the youth, after youth, actually, last time I talked about young people between the ages of 20 and 25.
Yeah.
Today I'm going to talk about now you've stabilized in life.
Kuna kazi, kuna pesa.
Umeanza kupata si pesa mingi.
Pesa tu.
Kapesa kamaanza kuingia as in ukishatumia madhe ushalipia rent ni nini, you can still sit down
Kuna
and
disposable.
take out your friends.
Yeah.
Na uko na ka 50,000 bado unaangalia what do I do with this money.
Yes.
That is what Lucina was calling me about. So I talked to her about investing in treasury bills, investing in treasury bonds, and investing in something called infrastructure bonds. There are 3 different types of government bonds.
Nice.
Anyway,
The more you know.
So
anyway,
today-
Ives, the surviving Nairobi, connecting people.
we have to start in Nairobi. So today, my problem is I normally have a lot of things to talk about, but today I'm only going to talk about 2 specific things. Number 1, I'm going to finish the discussion I had last time about credit. We talked about last time. I talked about how bad loans, how you can be over indebted and you can be exploited by those loan apps.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I could still talk about that, but it's a very big subject, so I'll leave that out. Today, I'm going to talk about how credit is good for you, but of course not too much. I mean, usiende kwa shailo kuchukua pesa wakuje kunyonge. I'll talk about that for the first half. The second half, I'm going to talk about now when you've stabilized, you've gotten 25, 28 years of age, umeanza kupata kakitu, what to do with your money. Of course, not to send it back home, all of it. I mean,
Right.
Black tax is a madness, but that's
Yeah.
another thing. That's another.
so those 2 things. So, where do we start from?
We start with there. We want to start credit. But ulikuwa tu.
No, nataka mwanzo
Si ulikuwa umesema, you had come out and said ulikuwa umeona credit rating ya mtu and I was like, yo, why is she taking us on this journey?
Okay. Let us start with credit. I'm looking at my phone here. I'm sure on the screen you can see,
If you're listening to this on audio, please go to YouTube. You can
and
see what
you
it's
will
showing.
see what I'm talking about. Huh?
Yeah.
So last time I mentioned the CRBs. People didn't even focus on the whole episode. They focused like, what is CRB?
Yeah.
Right? So today I have a CRB report here. This is from Metropole. I'm not endorsing. Okay, I'm endorsing Metropole. There are 2 CRBs in the country. There are 3 CRBs in the country. There's Metropole, there's TransUnion, and there is Credit Info. The commonest one is Metropole. Scores range from 0 to 800. Right? So, as a new borrower,
So it's
0 to 900.
like if we just clarify, 900 is the best.
900 is the best.
And yes,
but that only happens when the first time you log into CRB.
Okay.
You're 18.1 years old.
Yeah.
Right? And then as you take credit, you take them, you repay them, you take them, you repay them. Now, as a bank, when they look at your CB report and you're at 900, that means you've never taken a loan or anything. To you, you're good because you've never taken a loan. But to the bank, they won't really give you a loan. Do you know why?
Why?
Because we haven't measured what happens when you take a loan. We don't know whether you'll take and default.
Okay.
We haven't seen your behavior. Right?
Okay.
Now, when you take a loan and you repay it, your score remains between 700 and 800. That means you're a good payer. You take a loan, you repay it on time. Take a loan, you repay it on time. Right? As you default, let me tell you something. As you're young, you have that punchance of watanifanyia ni nikichukua mshwari saa hii na nikose kulipa kwani watanichapa.
Hawezi kuja kwa nyumba
Hawezi kuja
wakupige.
kwa nyumba. My friend, that thing will have a repercussion on you 10 years from now. I specifically said this sentence the last episode. Nikienda kununua nyumba 10 years from now, ile mshwari nilichukua 1000 bob inani affect saa hii nikichukua loan ya 10 million. So
How many extra zeros are those, Mazi? Just think about it.
So you think, since I'm rich and everything, my friend, that 1,000 bob you took last time, 20 years ago, is going to affect you now. So, 2 things about credit. Just the benefit. Number 1, take loans, yes, but repay them on time. Right? Take, repay. They keep your credit score on a good whatever. Someone is going to ask me, why should I take a loan? My salary, it can sustain me. No, it can't. There is something called leverage, right? If you go to a bank right now, you make a net income of 100,000 shillings, right? That is net of rent, net of expenses.
Yeah.
Ino pesa uko nayo. You 100,000 italala kwa bank. So you saving it kwa bank, right? Haikusaidi. Do you know that 100,000? If you take a loan for 5 years, niwapige calculator kidogo ama it's too much.
No, please.
It's too much, right?
Let's the math.
This, you wanna learn?
Yes.
Ken, so
Let's do this.
Yeah, let the people know.
Before I do the math,
Yeah.
the same thing I mentioned in that episode. In 2015, when a very young boy, I took a loan for a car,
Yeah,
893,000 shillings or something of the sort. Do you know your loan lisha 2020? That was after the episode.
Yes.
Masi nikashanga, yani hii gari mzima hii, okay, it's a Jalopy, but still, hii gari ni yangu. I don't owe anyone anything. In 5 years, I was paying. Do you know how much I was paying?
How much?
33,000 shillings or something.
Per month.
Yeah.
What?
Ino pesa na easy.
Yeah.
So this is the point. With that 33,000 shillings, you can't do anything with it in a month. Utaikunywa.
That's true.
Kama iko account, kama iko M-Pesa,
Piga sherehe.
utapiga sherehe. Sawa.
Easy.
So of course mimi I was a young banker, kila mtu kuna magari kabai gari. Wewe si lazima ubai gari by the way. Do you know enda hapa sio Kimau Rongai, nunua 50 by 100. Tupige hesabu sai.
Just do them as in. I love how whenever Shad comes here, it turns into like
No,
a lesson.
in education.
I love it. Yeah.
Do you know juzi my caretaker, the watchman under the caretaker, anabaki ingina 15,000 per month. Akakuja kambia Shadi, hebu tuongee story. Hii pesa mimi nakunywa bana. Nifanyie nini? That dude right now bana akona plot hapa hivi, it's called some place called Wote. I don't know where Wote is.
What is
Ukambani somewhere.
Yeah.
Dude mimi nakabai plot ya 90,000. Akalipa within 6 months.
Yeah.
Akaniambia Shadi, ile pesa uliniambia nishamaliza. Nifanye nini next? Paka nashanga this dude bana. Yani
Consultation fee.
unafaa unilipe bana.
Exactly. Consultation
Anyway,
fee.
listen to this. So, I don't know. I think these guys can show this calculator here. Okay.
Okay.
It's a bit complicated though.
Yeah, just tell the people. What do I
So, listen to this. Listen to this very carefully. Let's talk about 60 months. That's 5 years.
Yeah.
Right? You have an extra 100,000 shillings. Ushalipa rent. You're comfortable in your life,
That's
right?
disposable.
This disposable income. Sawa. Piga vitu mbili. Chukua 40,000. Weka kwa hii maisha kuna emergency mzee.
Okay, yeah.
Hii maisha kuna emergency. Weka 40,000 kando. Hii unaweka kwa. We'll talk about that. I talked about two things. Loans and savings.
Yeah.
Tutaongea hiyo 40,000 saa savings.
Mbele.
So weka kwa kichwa, tuko na 40,000 kando.
Yes.
Sawa?
Yes.
Saa hii tuko na 60k. Sawa? Enda bank yote tu. Any bank. Weka 2.5 million seme, bro, ndo hii payslip yangu. I want 2.5 million shillings. Are we clear? Tuweka calculator. 2.5. Right? That is the amount you've taken.
Yes.
Let's call that the present value of the money. Sai bank watakupiga ka interest wa kunyorosha 14%. So 14% is your interest for 5 years. That is 60 months. Weka 60 months is the number of. So no, let's calculate how much you're paying per month. 58,170.
That's out of the disposal. That's like from the 60.
From the
But-
60.
Yeah.
Okay, then
Skiza. How long has COVID been?
we are still in COVID. See, it has been
No, okay, since it started.
since like March last
It's
year.
a
It's,
bigger
yeah,
one
it's almost
It's still 2 years.
Yeah, it's almost 2 years.
Imagine kama ungechukua 2.5 million saa hiyo ile siku. Saa hii msee, you're nearly halfway through paying
Yeah.
it. Sindio?
Yeah.
Ulibuy ka ploti, ukienda pale hivyo Kitengela, Kajero nini, hiyo ulibuy ka quarter. Right? Sindio?
Yeah.
2.5 million shillings. Hata saa hii job ikiisha.
You still have your plot?
Uko na ploti useme job imeisha, wacha nikauze. It's a savings plan. Number 1. Kama ulibuy 2.5, saa hii ni kama 3.5. So hata bank wakuja wa auction waiuze 3.5, wajilipe. You see banks sio Shylock. Watajilipa ile kitu imebaki peke yake.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
See, utakuwa na 2.5 yako na kuna plot. As in basically kuna ka proportion hapo hivyo. You've been saving and you've been getting an asset. Kama saa hii, like I mentioned about my Jalopy, right? So I finished paying for it, the first one. Au kagari kako tu. If I decide to sell it, I finished paying for it. And then, you know, some people will tell you, oh, you've been losing money. Kama ungekuwa umenunua hiyo ploti. Ulikunyodo.
You don't lose bado. Either way.
Umeenda ukapiga
Sisi tukifanyia
sherehe,
kitu.
umepiga sherehe watamu, ikaisha ukajiambia nilifanya nini? Nilipiga sherehe.
Ukikuwa na manifest kila mwezi.
And
Naona
then
kitu.
unaendelea kumanifest.
Diani merchants
Wale
anasieke.
watu wako siwezi sema ni nani lakini but shout out to kina Alexas and stuff but still wale watu kwenye hali sahi Alexas sana anapiga sherehe sahi angekuwa na buy plot 2 but ni sawa tu iza leki
wanajua uzuri Shadi simza cemetery juu
mimi sasa cemetery
Shadi akona gari akona the thing he talks about
sahi si nimeongea story ya 100k nimechukua 60 peke yake na nimebadili nimeongea 2.5 hata ungechukua 2 ucheze na 50 ubaki na 10,000 upige sherehe
unataka
so saa hizi nimekupiga story 3 umesave no hajafika kwa savings umechukua loan uko na ka asset mahali na unatoka BND hata ukifungua nyumba unaenda plot yako unafunga gini unalala kwa nyasi sini yako
umeifence ni yako kwani nini
naenda kusumbua
una fence alafu unaweka kashak kama battery
now
uko poa
unabai duvet 3 ya 3k nenda unalala
kwa nyasi
unaenda kwa duvets and pillows ya what's her name ya Lucy Candy shout out Lucy Candy anyway so now anyway let's talk about the next thing
yes
even before we go to the savings part 5 years is a very short time this is now for young professionals this is for young professionals after you've saved that the next one by the way as a young banker nil realize kitu moja I used to think these guys were just forcing me for clout kume au watu walikuwa wanaongea kama mimi wewe chukua loan bana chukua loan sahi they bring you forms sign hapa chukua loan nunua kitu they force you to take kumbe they know they are doing unachukua 2 years 8 unalipa isha
tricky
chukua ingine kale ka plot kwa ambaye anakuambia chukua ingine bro 1 million ya nini weka foundation kwani iko nini weka ile plot weka foundation so mtu wazazi wanakuambia unawekaje foundation na una pesa ya kumaliza don't worry about that wewe weka foundation wacha mbele ni mbele tajijua utasikia umeweka foundation kidogo umefanya ujinga hivi ka consultant nini unaweka wall moja kidogo umeweka mawe mbili kidogo uko na nyumba
small you have a house
and
it's yours you never pay anyone
ulipi mtu rent ikishafika ile ushaika slab ya kwanza unaweza chukua nyumba can't you live inside there
of course
that's number 1 anyway so number 1 loans are good but only if you keep on repaying them on time of course don't go for Shylocks I'm really sorry for saying this but don't go for these small microfinances they will fleece you
niliambiwa microfinance wanakujanga wanachukua
kwanza urithi walisumbua watu
so I can't really talk into that I can't talk about that a lot so your story kidogo says you guys history microfinance sana
let me chill
but go for a bank and banks by the way let me tell you something but they have so much to talk about
okay I have a question to ask you before you continue what is like how would you compare banks and SACCOs because where I work everybody is in a SACCO everybody is in a SACCO
SACCOs are better SACCOs are better but with one major constraint you have to know people in the SACCO
that's something
when you're
else.
Taking the loan
you have to
somebody has to guarantee you so if you're just doing SACCO without knowing anyone who will guarantee you
so like kama niko office
wanaanga
watu wakipita na form ya SACCO like wait sikujo ni guarantee hapa ni guarantee hapa and I always feel like the numbers they telling me is like wow this is cheaper than a bank
they are cheaper but someone has to guarantee you
for a certain amount
yes
not and I found it not just one guarantor
5 they're normally 3 to 5 guarantors
they can guarantee
so you have to know people so SACCOs are very good but you have to know people so is my mother watching are we live I'm kidding anyway let's continue so next so I have so much to talk about loans but let's just make the main
actually let's think about what you think is the most important thing because at
the
end
most
of the
important thing
here
number 1
ajui
number 1 you have your but nimeongea 100,000 what's not even 100,000 5k a month as a repayment can get you a 200,000 shillings loan or a 500,000 shillings loan nikiongea your 2.5 million naongea your plot za Kajiado sio Kimau nini my friend did I mention something about Wote?
yes
you did
I'm buying plots there I have a friend of mine called Ken this dude bought a plot in Wote for I think 90,000 shillings right now he's planting mangoes it's you don't have to buy in Nairobi
you don't
you see when you get
Nairobi is
old, you won't live in Nairobi.
Nobody lives in
number
Nairobi when they're
two,
old.
you're not buying.
Ghetto.
People say, I'm buying a plot. No, this is your first plot, my friend. If kwani ukibuy gari ya kwanza, are you planning to drive it when you're 60 years old?
No.
Nunua ya kwanza, nunua ya pili.
Range Rover.
Nope. Sahi uko Range Rover 2.
Not even a range.
When you're 60, you'll buy a Discovery 5.
There's always a new car coming out.
There's always a new car coming up.
Yeah.
Car coming.
Anyway, so number one, don't let people lie to you that, umenunua ploti magadi. Yani, nunua. Kwani nunua.
Times are
Nuni
changing.
marisa bitata.
Of course, msione kubai zile unaambiwa ati the SGR is passing nearby. Those are false
Times are
comments.
changing. The economy is growing, and towns are
Listen,
expanding.
umemensha kitu mzuri sana. Okay, by the way, mimi, even if you see my Twitter handle najitanga ama mimi ndio mjinga. Sometimes by the way mimi ndio mjinga. In 2015, just after I got my car loan, about a year later, 16 now, someone told me, let's go to Rumuruti. Pale kumekwa
Uko kabla Maralal.
Isiolo airport hapo hivyo. Tukaenda pale, group of 10 people. Kajiambia tuchukue loan
Very deep cut.
to buy shamba. You're buying 100 acres. An acre was like 80k or something. Mimi kaambia nyi wase mnatucheza nyinyi. You guys are lying to us. Nikachukua loan nyingine ya 500,000 nikapiga sherehe vizuri.
Na hiyo loan
Wait, I have a question. Wait, ulimaliza half a million na sherehe?
Unacheza na mimi?
You know what? I applaud the effort. I applaud the effort.
Are you playing with me?
No, me, I'm just, I'm like, yo, half a
Are you
million
playing
share,
with me?
like, you niggas living good.
Are you challenging me?
No, I challenge me.
What?
What uko like?
What?
Half a
These
million.
fools bana.
Ningenunua vids.
These guys bought 100 acres. And then some plan was lapsa tikapita hapo Isiolo airport kaloncho nini. These fools man, they are rolling in money, right? 100 acres, they are like 9 people now. Each acre size is going for like 4 million shillings. I'm like, why did I go and
So Nikolise, the total cost of the 100 acres ilikuwa how much?
they were coming to 80, 90. Ilikuwa inakuja kama because they were taking a loan from the SACCO. Sasa uzuri walikuwa wanajigarantii. Kila mtu
anajigarantii.
Group guarantee. Ilikuwa around 10 million shillings. Saa hizi mse they are rolling in.
I wish you could see this on video whenever Shada shika kichwa. I really wish you
At this point, itabidi tu watch videos.
could see. Itabidi by the because there's a lot of nuance you're missing.
Lakini kusema tu kweli nilipiga sherehe mzuri.
As long as you don't regret.
No, I don't regret. No, I regret, but I don't regret.
Okay.
I did something else different.
Okay, hata mimi kuna time nilikuwa na pesa nilipiga sherehe kaa kumbafu. Like I had access to a lot of money nikapiga sherehe. You know what? I got out of my system. Sasa nikipata pesa,
Hiyo Kikuyu yangu ya-
si feel ati twende Mombasa. We did
Oh,
that shit.
you see that thing last episode?
Yes,
the thing about
I did all that shit.
Aya.
Sasa nikipata pesa mingi, I'll know what to do with it. Like I got that ushere bag out of my system.
Aya, tufanye hivi. Like I said,
Lila hizo savings.
I can talk about loans until tomorrow. Sawa. Tufunge sura loans sahi.
Yes.
Sawa. Last episode I talked about CRB, the rating system.
Right.
So, summarize rating system. Take a loan. Very important. Number 2, repay it on time. Take, repay, take. By the way, I don't know if I mentioned this before. I'm a credit risk analyst. If the two of you have taken, if you have never taken a loan, you've taken a loan, and then the other person has taken a loan, you have never taken a loan, nitakurate number 3.
Oh,
Huyu amechukua loan na akakosa kulipa, I'll rate her higher than you.
of course.
And then
Amechukua loan.
Number 1 ule wa kulipa.
ule umechukua na kulipa atakuwa number 1. Wewe unajiona mtu mzuri je chukua loan?
Kumbafu wewe.
Yes.
Basi mimi ndio kumbafu, mimi sijachukua loan.
Madam.
Ama mimi ndio mjinga.
Ai,
Wewe ndo mjinga.
Mjinga.
Aya, sawa.
Sasa yuko na
So back to credit. Take a loan.
Nunua gari.
Repay it.
Hiyo nafikiria.
Take a loan. Watu watakwambia let me tell you something by the way. People who are not able to take that loan and buy a car will tell you, why are you buying a car? A car is a depreciating asset. It is not. Why chukua uone sahi.
Let me tell you something. Ukiwa matatu umefinyana na mafulani amebeba kuku, kuna
Ndio utajua gari ni asset.
Anakula chupo sawa? Ndio ndo anakuambia ati sina change, sawa? Alafu mtu mbele yako na mtoto ana shout. Uta understand mbona kuna loan ya gari ni necessary.
Hiyo gari, let me tell you.
Pia.
People will tell you, ule mtu atakwambia gari si asset. Muulize. Ili nye ajanunua nayo gari, amefanya nini kwa hiyo pesa?
Alafu pia rides za Uber mazee zinakuwa expensive.
Uber is expensive.
Wow, you know what happened? Let me tell you something.
Take that car loan
Let me tell you
and
something.
repay it.
I switched, like, you know, before I used to like nilikuwa mse stuck point and do this ndio and then at some point I was like yo I'm spending too much money on Ubers for myself and other people so
let me just
sasa
nipigie hesabu.
no Shad I started
Sema
just
tusikie.
kupanda tu nduthi yo like
Sema tusikie.
ile pesa na save
Uzuri yangu,
I can't
this one
believe-
here, this one is called a Texas BA2 plus instrumental calculator.
my sister has that one apparently anafanya financial economics
Anafanya CFS.
anafanya financial economics is right
Nice.
yenda kuna akili kwetu si mimi
Haya.
hiyo ndo smart
Fanya
person
bro. Hiyo pesa yako ya Uber. On an average man, on an average week. Sana weekend unatumia pesa ngapi kwa Uber?
okay ask
Piga hesabu niambie. How much do you spend when you an average one Uber? Ina cost how much?
Ka 700.
700 shillings, no?
Yeah.
On an average week, piga Uber mara ngapi?
Like 4 times a week.
Kai.
wow mpaka Shad
Actually, on some days it's 7 out of 7.
So, wewe piga Uber ya 5,000 per week.
Yeah.
roughly
Kai. Bro.
Imagine.
really 20k
But then ukiangalia Uber receipts zangu, niko na gari ingine serious.
Hebu tufanye hivi. Acha tupige hesabu ya 1 million shillings. Tupige mita 1 2 3 6 zeros. Sawa. Hiyo ni 6 zeros, right? Sindio?
Yeah.
For 60 months. Sawa. That's 5 years.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
very young.
Yeah.
5 years.
Yeah.
At an interest rate of 14%. Sabu. Whatever reasons.
Right.
Tuone payment per month ni ngapi?
My God.
23,000. Ile pesa unalipanga Uber. Ndio hiyo. Ukienda sema uende Stanbic, watakupana 13%. 13%. Inakuja pesa ngapi? 22,500. Sema 23,000. Yaani wewe, alafu gari nimesema by the way, ni Subaru.
si gari mbaya
Unajua, unaweza buy ka third hand, second hand.
Yeah.
Uchukue gari ya 500,000.
Kavits kuna
Yes.
Kwambe Kademio
My friend, you'll be paying 11,000 shillings.
Cheki.
You've been driving.
Mimi
Umekuwa ukienda.
mimi la pesa lipa serikali acha nikimbie huko
Naenda kuchukua.
You've been driving a car kwa Uber. Umekuwa ukidrive hata tuseme
Unaona,
tufanye hivi Ives. Tufanye hivi. Wacha 5 years ni mrefu. Tuweke gari ya 500,000 shillings. Sio? Tuweke kwa miaka 2 tu peke yake. My friend, 23,000 shillings. Ukianza saa hii elections zianze ishe, mwezi ingie mwaka ingine, ushaanza kulipa loan. Unakuwa na gari yako.
Alafu kuna Demio na whip.
Sikiza, sababu nakwambia loans are very bad. Never take a loan. Within 2 years, ushachukua loan, ushamaliza na ubaki na gari.
Shada na push the anti-Uber agenda and I'm loving it. Anyway, panda nduthi kwanza tufanye gari.
Let us forget about loans for now. Sawa. Let's forget about loans.
Next year itabidi tumie whip.
Sawa.
Itabidi.
Let's forget about loans. Sai tumbasha 40,000. No?
Yes.
If you
Yeah.
guys remember,
From the 100
Yeah.
we started.
100,
From the 100
tukachukua 60.
Yeah.
tukaenda kabaya plot ya 2.5 million shillings.
Somewhere.
Hata plot ya tukaenda kabaya plot ya 1.8
Yeah.
na gari ya 700.
Na uko na asset mbili.
Uko na asset mbili, gari na
Yes.
plot. 60,000 imeenda.
Nimeland.
Umbakisha 40k.
Aha.
Now, imagine Januari imeanza, si ndio? Hiyo 40,000 yako. Hii mwaka madhe hajakuwa mgonjwa, mtu hajakuwa mgonjwa, kila kitu iko sorted.
Hakuna mtu aliumwa na ng'ombe. Akapata bad body disease.
Akapata bad body sijui what the other. Sio? Ulianza na 40,000 Januari.
Yeah.
Ukatupa kwa account. So as I finish the last 5 minutes nitaongea juu ya saving mechanisms.
Okay.
Ukachukua 40,000 ukaweka mahali. February 40,000 ukarusha the same place. Saizi we want to talk about interest rates, just talking about plain 0% saving.
Yeah.
Sindio? My friend, inafika December unasikia hey, kuna watu waenda KOT Fiverside Mombasa. Sina pesa. Unachungilivu kwa ile account hivi. You have 40k.
Yeah, 480,000, yeah.
Uko na 480,000 shillings.
Yeah.
Unaangalia hivi unashtuka. What just happened?
Peleka mrembo Zanzibar.
Small savings.
Yeah.
Wapi unaenda Maldives?
Unafanya hivi? No. Piga so mbili. Peleka mrembo Zanzibar ama Maldives wenye
Yeah, jibambe.
wanakudanganya but still.
Wanakudanganya.
Unabaki na nini? Na
Trust women out there.
Let me tell you. Do you know saving money? Now, something else that my father, by the way, my old man, he was a finance. I'm a very numbers person. Akakuwa by the mzae alikuwa anapiga sana. Kabla nini hesabu?
Hey, trauma.
No, yangu si trauma. Yangu ni thanks. Anyway, hesabu. Do you know, alituambia kitu moja tukiwa watoi. If you make, let's say, a net income of 120,000 shillings. Sawa. Piga hesabu kama 3, 4, 5 months. So make 100,000. Piga 4 months, save 30. In 120. Ikue kwa account yako. Isi savings? Iko kwa account yako. So that one day, ukilipa 120, uko na 120 kwa account. Basically, uko na an extra 1 month salary. My friend, ili maisha utaishi. No stress because you have 1 month salary. So, by the time unaingia, you're not broke. Ili ati pesa jingine kwa account. Anyway, that's diverging from the topic. Back to savings. Number 1, saving the 40,000 shillings. Ikue tu. My friend, ile emergency takupiga kuna kakitu. Sawa.
There's always something there.
There's always something. Now, to the main point, I said the last thing I talk about is that savings thing. The main point of saving is, let me get a bit technical. So,
Ambia watu.
there's something called inflation, right?
Yep.
Our current inflation is trending between, in Kenya that is, between 6 and I think 7.5% or 8. I'm not sure about last month's figures. Inflation basically means if you had 1,000 shillings in January, by December, you'll still have the 1,000 shillings, but the value of that 1,000 bob will be 6.5% less than the value you had at the beginning of the year. So, if you want to keep the value of your money constant, very simple principle, look for an interest rate that is equal to the inflation rate or just a bit higher. Right?
Whoa, as in, even it's a simple thing to consider.
Very simple.
But so many people would not even think of that.
Yeah, we overlooked that.
So, the current, last month, the trading, I love this. Savings.
Shada ameshika hizi mara mingi and I'm loving it. I'm
Let's
loving
talk
it.
about-
Tuko class ya eco.
Angalia vile dia kwamba nikaa nataka kutoa notebook.
I'm just, let me give you a fact. These are tweets as of yesterday by the Central Bank of Kenya. The results of the 91, 182, and 364 days treasury bills.
Oh, I know those
Ay.
things. Najua hizo ni nini?
We'll talk about bills and bonds next time. I'm sorry.
Yes,
But
but
I'll mention them.
I know what they are at least.
Yeah. So, the last one, the market weighted average interest rate for the bills, 91 days bills, was 7.07%. That was slightly higher than the inflation rate. That means if you have this money, if you put it in a treasury bill for 91 days, that's what, 3 months,
Yeah.
right? At the end of 3 months, the value of your money will be equal to just a bit higher to the inflated. So, out of inflation.
Yeah.
Savings. Let's talk about savings now, right? Take your money. In finance, there's something called risk. When you risk high, you aim high.
Je, ukweli?
Let me give an example. I do not advocate for gambling.
Hivi maze.
But let me just mention
Unataka uko deep in thought.
Deep in
Hivi nataka Chad, umerock walia hivi. The thing is, one of the hardest things for people to understand is raw numbers, because when you're paying something out of your pocket, like kama your Uber, you're like it's a 700.
Yeah.
What is a 700?
Ni so saba tu.
So saba.
What's a 500 bob here?
Yeah.
What's a
But
700
lose
there?
Gary in the last 2 years.
Bro, uchungu.
Ivy say yako depression. Like,
But then
that's the thing.
you experience, you're seeing, no, you're witnessing firsthand depressive episode.
Ivy say yako hapa anasema,
I'm just like,
yani
driving.
hizo Uber zote.
Angekuwa baadhi moja kama hiyo.
So because when you're paying the 700, the 500, it's nothing. It's just 500. Uko na 5k kwa mfuko, 5 so ni nini? Uko na 10k kwa mfuko, 5 so ni, but sasa once you put it in a big picture part,
Yeah.
Hiyo Uber ulikuwa unapanda, ungekuwa unaendesha
and I
mwenyewe.
feel like for people who are listening, they're going to be like, wait a minute.
You'd be driving that car bila kujua.
So if you're going to do this, just open up your Uber app,
Yeah.
go check all your receipts by the way.
Piga receipt uone
Honestly-
an average per month.
No, you need to shock yourself to realize how much you've lost.
Do you know? Let me tell you. Okay.
Lost a lot.
Let me diverge a little bit. Let me tell you what I lost. Let me just diverge a little bit. Okay. Like I said, ama mimi ndio mjinga.
Sana mimi ndo nilikuwa mjinga.
Lakini
I'm the
in this case I'm the fool.
This case. Yeah.
When I left campus, I'm a bit old. I finished campus back in 2011. right? I had a lot of time. Nilikuwa na time mzee. Siko na watoi, siko na wife. Nilikuwa na time. Nikaambiwa end of kinaitwa CFA, chartered mtu wa finance. Sawa. Nika keep on postponing. Job ikaingia, mtoi akakam, wife ndo huyo. Time ikaisha. In 2018 or 19, nikapiga. Okay, by the way, I'm a very brilliant analyst. Nikaitiwa job mahali, one of my dream companies. Of course, mtu kwa kampo unakuwa na dream company.
Yeah.
I dream to work here. Stay mentioned. I've been applying ever since I left campus. 2019, I think. Kantumia first one nikaitwa interview. I chapered 6 interviews for them over a course of 6 months. Tukanyorosha ikafika place kwa mbele. Tubaka mimi and some babe called Alicia. There are 2 of us. So by then I was making, I think, a gross income of about 150k makitukaye. Them, they don't care about what you're making. They don't ask you what is your current pay slip. So me and this babe, we got there. This lady, sorry for calling her babe. Me and this lady, we got there. We've tied everything. Tukaulizwa, does anyone of you have a CFA qualification? She removed her CFA 3 certificate. I removed my application for CFA 1. Right now, she's in Singapore. She makes a net income of 800,000 shillings.
Net.
Like if you can see my face.
Anyway, my point was,
in
that 40k I was talking about, invest in yourself. Identify what you... This is for young professionals. Some people like to think that I work in a bank, I'm an accountant, I'm a lawyer, so I'm okay. No, you're not okay. Invest in that small certification. Do it. Do it today.
I always tell people this thing. If you have an opportunity to go back, go to school, get better certificates, please do.
Let me tell you something. 2 years from now, you'll be 2 years older without the certification.
Yeah.
Do it. Anyway, let's put that for another episode. I'll compile something for that. Let's go back to savings. We were talking about the 6%, and I read for you the bills.
Yeah, you got 7.something%.
So let me take 2 minutes to mention. Very simple thing. A treasury bill is, the government needs money. The government is a person just like me and you. Okay, not, but still. Needs money. So after it's a tax to you, bigger tax, but the pesa itoshi. They need to come and borrow from you. Right? When they borrow from you, when you give them money for 1 year, it is called a treasury bill. You've borrowed for a year and you've given them money, they'll repay within a year. Between 1 year and let's say 5-10 years, it's called treasury bond. Right? And then, let's say when they want to build Thika Superhighway, sawa, they will borrow for 25-30 years. It's called an infrastructure bond. Right? Okay. So ile pesa uko nayo 40,000. Sawa. We've seen that the treasury bill tumangale. By the way, I'm not talking about this. I'm not picking numbers over my head. This is a tweet by CBK on yesterday's what date? 11th November 2021. The results of the 91, 182, and 364-day treasury bills issued something, dated 15th November 2021, 4 days from now. Amount offered 4 billion shillings. Total amount accepted 3.9 billion. The market weighted interest rates for 91 days, it is 7%. 182 days, that is half a year. 7.68 for 1 year. Listen to this figure. 8.745%. Unapiga ile 40k yako. These things, by the way, they come out regularly. They're like once or twice every month. Listen to this very carefully. Unapiga hesabu yako, hiyo 40k yako unaiweka in such a way that umeka January 40k hivyo. Even though the minimum you can buy is 100,000. I think walifunza at 50, but I'm not sure, but normally 100. Unazipiga in such a way that every month unapiga ka interest kako ya 8%. In pesa nini? A gin.
Enjoyment.
Si enjoy, si a gin ya KFC. Every month.
It's like
Peleka away from Toy. Peleka wa KFC. And then you pesa bado kutua hapo.
At the end of the day, you'll get your money back.
You're getting your money back.
The full principle you started with.
Yeah.
Na wewe sasa watoto umeshawapigisha sherehe wamefurahianga.
And then after 3 months hivi unachukua ya pesa ya 2 months unaweka kwa when they come out. That is the last infrastructure bond that Kenya had was the development of the Lamu port. That was the last one, I think. Hatujakuwa na nyingine. When infrastructure bonds come out, number 1, they are tax free. Hii pesa ushakula hii utakula excise duty 20%. Infrastructure bonds are tax free.
Hakuna withholding tax nini.
Ikikuja na kuja pesa ni yako. That's number 1. Best investments weka kwa build bonds and infrastructure bonds.
I have a question.
Number
like a bond or a bill, is it similar to like a fixed deposit account for bank?
No. A fixed deposit right now is paying you 4%.
Okay.
Because
the interest rate is different.
Because a fixed deposit, there is something called, what's it called, technical kidogo. Kuna CRR. That is the rate set by the central bank for pricing loans and deposits by banks. For loans, they can only go 4% above the CRR. The current CRR is 7%, I think, 7.5%, according to the last MPC. 7.5? So 4%, even though it's going to get a risk-based pricing, that's a whole other story. And then they can only pay your savings 3% less.
So
4% kwa savings.
Nakwambia wewe kumbafu kuja hapo ushike 4.
Usiweke pesa kwa fixed deposit. I'm sorry. I'm no longer a banker, so I can say it. Fixed deposit, they're lying to you. Don't put it money. Weka pesa kwa bonds. Number 2, there is something called an MMF. Not what you're thinking.
Wait.
Money.
Man, what the fuck? Yo, bro.
Listen.
Like imagine tumekuwa tukisoma yote last na tunakushia hiyo kitu. Like
What it is?
Para music break is kwa umsa alikuwa in the middle of is saying something important lakini the field. Angalia Kenya hivi anafanya.
MMF is a money market fund.
Kai.
Money market fund.
Jesus.
Hey,
bro.
Two different things.
Here's the thing, nikwambia kitu. Like umsa ameongea paka Albert Einstein alafu akadropia watu a reminder. I'm still in the streets yo. Like akakushia tu bomb. Msidhani ati mimi ni mwalimu.
Amerusha street card.
As in mimi si mwalimu.
Now, let me give you an example of MMF. But I'm not advocating for I'm not promoting anyone. And MMF is a money market fund.
Right.
So, basically, a money market fund means you go to a company, that is Genghis Capital, IC Lion. Okay, those are Sterling Capital. Those are two that can come up out of my head right now. They have had analysts like me to sit down and look at markets and decide we are going to invest in this. And then they are going to sell you something called a unit fund. Normally, kitambo, if I want to invest, I have to look for 10 million shillings to go to the stock market and buy shares for Kakuzi, Safaricom, KCB, what, to structure a good interest rate. But now I'm hire mtu afanywe kazi yote, and then instead of one person bring the 10 million shillings, they come and sell to you in terms of units. Unabuy 50k, unabuy 100k, wanazipool zote, wanachukua investment. Wewe unakaa chini, fungua Daily Nation Standard page 42, 43, 44 to 47. Pale hivyo nyuma kwa
kuna stats azirudi mtu we
pale nyuma kuna markets. Angalia on the top right of the previous of the preceding page, like this ile 42 side hapa juu. Utaona results za the current trading whatever. Utaona MMFs wana trade between 8%. Last year ICA Lion walikuwa na 12%.
So ukika 100
unaweka pesa yako hapo unameka 12. Alafu
kama uko na 100 yako just rusha hapa tu kumbe.
Waacha kwa watu wana saving pesa, niko na pesa mob. Iko wapi? Iko kwa bank. Why?
So pesa ni idle, like it doesn't help you.
Number 1, it is idle. Number 2, it is deflating due to inflation.
So you'd rather put it out there.
Sasa umeka pesa kwa MMF, number 1 umepiga inflation 6%, umepata an extra 6% over inflation. What are you doing with your money in the bank?
Young professionals, are you listening?
These are for young professionals. Napata mseko kwa bana niambia bro, niko na pesa Stanchart ngapi? 3.5 million. Angalia. Nimekuwa nikisave for the last 2 years. Kwa nini uko na pesa kwa bank? Are you nuts? Hiyo pesa, hiyo bank yenyewe wamechukua hiyo dogo kwa MMF wao wenyewe.
Pesa yako inakulisha watu wengine.
Inalisha watu wengine.
Guy, the Alfred Mutua of it all.
Anyway, like I said, I could talk about money from today until tomorrow next week. But for now, let me hold it at that.
That's all. Chad,
Now,
like,
questions?
let's just go into the music break, Kwanza, and then like I have one more question for you, and then
It's
we'll be
alright.
on the, like, we notice every time this is second time. Nah, every time we go up,
si tumenyamaza.
Watu wanyamazanga, wiko.
we learn. We like this again. I know what's gonna happen in this episode.
Tuko class.
Oh, what I'm like. Shada kwa happy. Itabidi upeane
So,
masterclass.
Let me summarize. Number 1, chunga CRB yako. Number 2, chukua loan. Number 3, weka savings. Number 4, hiyo savings umeweka, peleka kwa government.
Ama-
Weka kwa bond na treasury bill. Well, I could take a few minutes later to tell you how. It's very simple. Alafu number 5, weka kwa IMF. And those are only those ones. If you risk, wait, hata sijaongeza risk bado.
Hiyo sasa hiyo unajua sasa the thing is Shad
coming.
yeah, you keep coming alafu pia people can always reach out to you.
Yeah,
But you know there
yeah.
might be somebody who might be interested in one particular thing.
That you mentioned.
Social
Talk to
examples
me.
ziko hapa. Mtu
Talk to me.
atakuDM.
Hey, you can see my socials.
Was it
Talk to me.
did you tell me before that there was somebody who actually saw you in the street akusimamisha?
Bro, also, mtu anasimamisha alafu ananiambia give me your number. Why? Just so that I can have it. Just in case I become rich, I will call you.
You start now.
We start
Now.
mpigie sahi.
Nimekaa na watu kwa bar.
Kama hiyo
Somebody what's the show? A cop, polisi. Okay, I'm not sure alikuwa anataka kuinvest bribe money, but still. Kadao amenishika, akachukua DL. Alafu like, wewe nimekuwa na mahali kijana. Wapi? YouTube. Bro, tulikaa chini hapo nje Nairobi area traffic hapo hivyo. Nikapiga crowd na investment ideas. Aliwachilia.
Hiyo ni crazy. Hiyo ni crazy. And on that madness.
So Makarao na watch surviving Nairobi.
Imagine. Hata wana survive. Tuko rada.
Oh, rather, but anyway, now it's time for the music break. Let's go.
Approximately 10 hours later.
And we are back from the music break. I hope you all enjoyed and vibed.
Yes.
But
So Shad, here's a question I have. Let's say mimi niko na hii pesa yote, hii disposable income we've been discussing. Your
40k.
Your 100k.
Or 100 before loan and savings.
Before loan and savings. And maybe I might not want to invest in like an MMF or T-bill, T-bond, hizo vitu zote. What are some unorthodox maybe investments people can look into? Unajua kuna mtu anaweza kaa aseme, maybe I don't want to buy that car. Maybe like I'm comfortable. Unajua kuna watu wako comfortable.
Kuto comfortable, eh?
Kuna watu wako comfortable. Mtu ako sawa kupanda matatu kila siku. They are good with that, si ndio? What is an unorthodox investment maybe that they might not be aware of or they might not be like looking into?
I that question actually takes me to, I mentioned risk, but I was going to do it later, but let me just do it now. In every situation, there's something called risk. Let me take a small example. Number 1, I do not advocate for gambling, but I'm just using this example. If, for example, let's just use the two biggest teams. Okay, let me not use those ones. Let me go to Spain. Let me use Barcelona and Real Madrid. Right? If you're betting for both teams to score, you'll get an odd of 1 point. That's very low risk.
4.
They're most probably score each other.
Yeah.
Low risk, 1.4. Right? Both teams to score 2 goals. That's a bit higher risk.
Yes.
Right? 1.9 or 2. Both teams to score 5 goals. That's very high risk. So
Yeah,
the
they go
odds
with 100
are,
better.
let's say, odds of 100.
Yeah.
The higher the risk, the higher the
Reward.
return. Risk and reward. So in finance, it's called risk and return. So the higher the risk, the higher the return. When you invest in government bonds, they are called zero risk. Whatever happens, the
Pesa
government,
itarudi.
the government of Kenya will not fail.
Itakutumia pesa yako
Utaweka
regardless.
100% yako, you will get a 7% interest at the end of the year. Low risk, zero return. No, as in basically, no zero return just above inflation rate. 7.07% for 91 day. Mnakumbuka hesabu?
Yeah.
7.07 for 91 day, 7.843 for 365 day. From the bonds from yesterday,
Yeah.
11th of November. Right? Now, if you want to go a bit higher, you go to an MMF, let's say with 10%. Same money, a bit higher risk. Higher risk means if you lose this money, itaenda more, you lose more. But if you gain, you will gain more.
Yeah.
If you go and buy a matatu,
That's a high risk.
it's high risk,
Yeah.
but also high return. If the end of the day arrives, uko na pesa mzuri, lakini kanga kucheza na driver, uta lose gari yako.
Bado kuna kanjo.
Na kuna
Kuna karao.
Na kuna karao.
Kuna license.
Una lose.
Kuna vitu vingi tu.
So
Kuna
you
accident.
can get a lot of money,
A lot to consider.
but you can also lose a lot of money.
Yeah.
Risk and return.
Yeah.
So hii pesa yako kama uko nayo, okay, ni kusema tu kweli, mimi am a finance person, I'm an analyst. So I'm not into business, but what we look into with your money, if you don't want to do savings and loans, that's a balance of return and outflow. You now go and look into businesses and things like that. Me being a finance person, I've worked in credit for the last 9 years. Me, today, if I get my money, quit my job, I'm going to open a microfinance. Money always breeds money. That's my personal opinion.
And I love it.
That's interesting and very ironic because
Like unahitaji pesa.
Do not go into microfinance.
Yes,
But people need the money.
that's true.
Yo, let me tell you something. Like wale watu,
It is
you know the way,
what it is.
like people serve the land of the market. You'll get rich serving the land of the market. People, like there's a start. This is just the most random thing. People, I'm gonna say. Do you know like the third biggest, or fourth biggest phone maker in the world? Ni company gani?
Motorola, Nokia,
No.
Apple.
It's the fourth biggest maker of phones in the world. It's like Samsung, Apple. No, it's actually
iPhone,
it's like
Samsung.
Xiaomi, Samsung, Apple, and then Transsion Holdings. Transsion Holdings on Techno, Infinix, Itel, all these brands. Oppo is owned by Oppo is a separate company. Oppo is owned by BBK, but Sasa Transsion Holdings own all this XTG.
Really?
Boys in Nini.
Yeah.
That's what they do. They serve the low end of the market, and they make a lot of money doing it.
That's a good strategy.
Economies of
The same
scale.
thing.
Economies
You
of
just
scale.
target the low end of the market that's unserved.
Instead of, by the way, I have very bad memory, but I also have very good memory. I mentioned this very specific thing in the last episode. Instead of giving 1 million shillings to one person, give 1,000 shillings to 10,000 people.
Yeah.
Because this 1 million is one person, he can die tomorrow, and your 1 million is gone.
I remember,
But the 10,000,
itakuja tu. I remember quote ilisemanga
Risk
that
assessment.
if you are a bank 1 million shillings, that's your problem. If you are a bank 1 billion shillings, that's
is the
their bank's
bank's
problem.
problem.
Sasa
That is
makosa
true.
si yako. Bank unakula stress sasa. Huyu jamaa kona bilioni.
Anyway,
Akiamua tamka.
to summarize this question, if you have money and you want to do loans or savings, invest in somewhere. Just go back to the basic principle. Number 1, beat the inflation rate. The inflation rate, by the way, like I said, open your Daily Nation. Okay, I did National Daily. So kwa Standard sijui ni page gani, but kwa Nation 42, 47 hapo nyuma tu kwa business news. Soma inflation. Beat your inflation. Hiyo page moja hiyo, it can give you how to beat the inflation.
It'll make you rich.
Weka kwa hii. Kama hujui shares, wachana na shares. Also, I've been asked today, how do I go? Because I've mentioned shares, but I haven't mentioned how to do it. I'm gonna give you guys in the next episode. I'm gonna give you specifics on how to actually go and do these investments.
Actually, you know what? We don't even have to in the next because the episode takes like a week to come out. You can just come and record this and put it in this episode.
Fine, no problem.
Si kitu kubwa.
So I'm gonna. That's a good one. I'm gonna go and.
Okay. For continuity purposes, because the next episode might not be about this.
Yeah.
So I would rather maybe we put it in this episode, or we wait until we record, because obviously we record tena.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Sawa.
We wait for that.
Ivan. As in, at this point.
I'm confused.
No, I meant to say as in, if you have not noticed, if you have not realized, Shad is going to be a constant
Yeah.
returning guest.
Of course.
Because you have so much to talk about.
The all-star.
And he's an all-star.
Of course.
Any big five. So at this point, there's so much we are learning. Come on, everyone has noticed that me and Afari have just been Shut.
Tuko hapa tuko like what?
The
Which
noisiest
is really
ones.
good because-
For
Yaani
today, they've been
napeleka
silent.
dem kwa nyumba na gari na mimi namlipianga Uber la haula.
Fine.
Nasikia, mimi ndio huyo dem. Mimi ndo najipeleka home and I'm just struck. I was like, you know what? Next year a time like this, guys, nitakuwa na ringa hivi na kids zangu.
Si wewe peke yako?
Both of us.
Both us.
Both of us.
Both us.
Right.
Hivyo tu.
What's
Yeah.
both us? Who's both
Like,
us?
Both of us.
Guy, you say like here's why you realize Shad is old.
Yeah. Ile time ana join kampo hapa nikumaliza kampo. Unamaliza kampo 2011. Ndio mimi namaliza high school.
Shad alikuwa kidance ngoma za Jago kwa club.
Like,
Geo.
jokes. Juicy.
What the fuck? Are these jokes?
The other day, there's a tweet about that baby being the part of this band.
Oh, ati Karun being
Karun, big band from Kampula. So as a joke,
Yeah.
because this baby was sitting with like me, my sister, they are all kids. So do you know Nyash was in Kleptomaniacs? She was like, but Kleptomaniacs are thieves. What do you mean?
What the?
Yep. Same thing.
Oh my gosh, she took the literal version of a clip.
Wait.
Yes!
How can I
Took the literal version of a kleptomaniac.
Don't you remember? That's
Like
on Twitter.
didn't know
What?
there was a band called Klepto.
You know, something I noticed. There's somebody who posted a TikTok on Twitter of a Kenyan girl who didn't know the song Manzi wa Nairobi. And I sat there and went like, we've gone full circle from someone on Twitter being in the actual video of Manzi wa Nairobi to someone not even knowing that song exists.
No,
J-boy.
she asked me, what do you mean Nyashinsky was a kleptomaniac?
Oh my god, please. No.
Hebu tuende episode juu hapa tuanza kutapika sasa.
First of all, and then the thing is, one of us here is not a fan of nations.
Oh, of course ni mimi.
No, fuck.
Of course ni mimi.
Na nimekaa na all this long.
Sinikatwe masikio basi. Sinikatwe masikio.
Let me tell you something, for me. See, me, I'm an old guy. The two surviving ones. Nyash and Nameless. Of course, when I said Nameless, I also mean Wahoo and
Yeah,
Bebe Cool.
Elisa.
East Africa Bashment Crew.
Oh, EABC was lit.
Yes.
Okay, no msakata hizo zote but
Bring back
Nyashinsky.
Let me tell you.
dance hall.
Nyash.
Bring back Ugandan dance hall.
Shout out Kalonzo.
Nyash,
Bring back Ugandan
Nameless. Boys. As in those guys.
Imagine the episode even devolve into this. It's fun. At least like
Tupatie watu breathing space.
Sasa.
Breathing space.
Shad, thank you so much for coming on.
Asante, bro.
We have to come back because there's a lot more you talk about.
I still have so much more content.
This has been episode.
I even feel like structuring it. Anyway,
It's out.
Yes.
Tunapanga.
thanks, Abby.
Always.
So this has been episode 6 of season 5 of Surviving Nairobi with Shad Khalif. Mtu wa mapesa, mtu ameambia kupanda Uber.
Mr.
Nunua gari bila kupanda Uber.
Nunua gari msanii.
Sawa, because najua uko na payslip.
Kwa loan.
Wengine wenye mko na payslip kubwa sana.
Usidanganywe.
Like-
Loan si ubaya.
Personally, mi nakwanga ule msemo mwenye I really pride myself in not having ever taken a loan. Like
unaona.
hata fuliza sijai
Bro,
fuliza.
that is wrong.
I know
that is wrong.
I've just realized because like mimi strong. Tafadhali tuanze
Stop
hata kama
bragging,
mimi
ati sijawahi chukua
nitafuliza
loan.
50 bob kesho.
Fuliza ndo ya nyanya na vitunguu.
Nitaenda super alafu ni make sure kuna like zile ma popcorn yenye msearch zile za 40 bob.
Do you know? Listen.
Kwa mpesa enda 3050.
Bas.
Munipatie tu one more minute. One more minute. Listen. In South Africa, in the States, us, we work on mobile money. Them, they work on credit cards.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And we are going there. We are working towards a credit-based economy. You'll walk into a shop, pick your shopping, go home, you will pay later. Right? Small interest rates. The government, the CBK, not government is fucked up. CBK and stuff, we work on it. But you won't be able to access this thing without a credit history. Credit history basically tells me umekuwa ukibehave aje, ukiwa mono ulikuwa na behave aje, ukiwa ex mono ulibehave aje, ukiwa form 3 ulibehave aje. Sasa moja kama sijui ulibehave aje, why would I give you because I don't know what you pay. Credit based economy.
Shad niko sure credit card limit yako ni high sana.
Yeah.
I don't say
If I tell you,
Jamaza tu.
I can buy Ivy's car.
Manifestations work, nigga. Listen.
Guys, thank you so much. It's been a vibe. Shout out to
Next year niko na gari thanks to Shad.
Shout out to KFC and the Crunchmaster for sponsoring this episode. It's been episode 6 of season 5 of Surviving Nairobi. See you on the next one.
Boom. Buy a car.